Going over a new poll by Rasmussen Reports that shows Donald Trump is tied with Kamala Harris in the state of Wisconsin. I'm not going over the Arizona poll because I may be doing that in a future video, so I'm just focusing on the Wisconsin poll today. In Wisconsin, Trump and Harris are tied at 49% of the vote among likely voters in the state. And the survey of Wisconsin voters was 1,071 and conducted between September 19th and 22nd in a margin of error of 3%. So it is worth a grain of salt because Rasmussen Reports has a very streaky record when it comes to polls. In 2016, they were very accurate. In 2020, not so much. In 2022, they also, I believe, were not entirely totally accurate. So it's with a grain of salt here. But it is very interesting showing a tied race in Wisconsin because it fits in with the greater polling average at this time. We've seen in Wisconsin the race being very, very close, where after a string of very good polls for Harris, there was another set of polls that had her up 1 point over Trump in the state of Wisconsin. The Hill Emerson released a poll a few days ago that I went over last week that had Trump up by 1, and now this poll has the race tied. So we're starting to see a sign that Wisconsin, even though Harris has held a lead here for a long time, we're starting to see that it's not the 2 point margin of error average state or 2 point margin state that it's been. It's starting to get back to how close it really is. And looking through Wisconsin, I noticed something that I felt was worth mentioning, especially in today's video. That is, look at the polling data in Wisconsin in both 2020 and 2016. In 2020, Joe Biden led in the polls 51% to Donald Trump's 44.3%. It ended up on election day 49.6 for Biden, 48.9 for Trump. So yes, the average was correct in predicting that Biden would defeat Trump in the state, but it was off by, about a little under 2 percentage points overestimating Biden and about 4 points underestimating Trump. And then if we look back at 2016, just real quickly, we saw that Clinton got 46.8%. Trump got 40.3% in the polls. So it underestimated Trump, by 7 points almost. So what am I getting at here? Am I saying that Wisconsin's polls are going to underestimate Trump by 6 points in 2024? No, I am not saying that. Because as we see in the polls right now, there was a lot of undecided vote where Trump was at 44% or 40% or so. The polls seem this time not to be off by that much, and that Trump support at 48.3 is much higher than the 44%. However, am I saying there won't be any polling bump at all? That I'm not so sure of. But what I think for certain when it comes to the state of Wisconsin is this is a very close race. It's likely a 1 point race at this time. And I think either Trump or Harris could win this state. And this state is a very under the radar toss-up state that Trump might actually win on election day. You might be thinking, what are you talking about? I'm crazy. Harris has been leading here for a long time. She's definitely going to win this state. Nothing in the polling data shows that Trump is leading right now, aside from the Hill Emerson poll. But what I'm seeing is a race that's under the margin of error and a race that, if the election night goes Trump's way, I could see it having a trickle-down effect in a state like Wisconsin, where out of nowhere, a state we assumed was Kamala Harris's to lose is now all of a sudden going for Trump. And I know, I just told you, Trump is not polling as badly as he was in 2020 or 2016. This is the best Trump has ever polled in the state of Wisconsin in 2016 and 2020. This is the best he's ever polled, and the worst a Democratic challenger has polled against him. That does not guarantee Trump will win the state of Wisconsin in 2024 or Harris will lose the state. But I think it is a sign that this is the best Trump has ever polled. And for some reason, there seems to always be at least some sort of Trump bump on election day where the polls miss a certain percentage of Trump voters. It happened in 2016, it happened in 2020, and even if it's only by 1 percentage point, if it happens again in 2020, Wisconsin in the polls is so close, it might be enough to give Trump the state of Wisconsin. So even if you disagree with me on this and you think Harris will win the state of Wisconsin in 2024 and you think I'm wrong, that's totally fine. Just hear me out on this. Because when you look at the electoral map, right now it's 226 for Harrison Walz. It's supposed to be 219 for Trump and Vance. Trump is leading in the polls right now in North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona. That puts Trump on the doorstep at 262. Most of this election, myself and many other election analysts and such have been talking about the all-important state of Pennsylvania and its 19 electoral votes being the state that could decide who the next president of the United States is. And I certainly think Pennsylvania will be and is the most important swing state, especially because we know Michigan right now seems to have a lead for Kamala Harris, and she'll probably win the state somewhere around 1 to 2 percentage points. But I'm actually taking Pennsylvania out of the equation for a second and giving it to Harris, because if Trump is able to win the state of Wisconsin while at the same time holding Arizona, holding Georgia, and holding North Carolina, Wisconsin actually does the job of getting Trump over 270. It's 272, so Trump literally wins by the skin of his teeth, one of the closest elections we've ever seen, if not the closest, in election history in the United States, and surely something that will cause a lot of probable unrest between the Republicans and Democrats across the country if this happened. But nonetheless, Wisconsin and its 10 electoral votes would be enough to get Trump over 270. Which is why I'm saying the fact that this race is under 1% in the average says it's a margin of error race. It's a tied race. It's very, very close. And I don't think this is a sign that the Harris campaign is not taking Wisconsin seriously. The vice president was just in Wisconsin a few days ago. So, of course, the Harris campaign's taking Wisconsin seriously. The Trump campaign's taking Wisconsin very seriously. But it's not getting as much media attention and such, I think, as a state like Pennsylvania is. So, of course, it's possible Trump could win Wisconsin and win Pennsylvania. That gets him up to 291. I think that's certainly a plausible scenario. And I think Wisconsin, like I said, there's nothing in the polling data right now that shows Trump is leading in the state of Wisconsin. This is a pure 100%, in my opinion, feeling of the gut. I could see Wisconsin going for Trump, and I'm starting to buy into the fact I think Wisconsin might go for Trump. Again, I could totally be wrong on this. This is not fact. This is purely my opinion. So if you want to say I'm wrong about this, you have every right to do so, because it is possible on election night I will be wrong. But I'm starting to see a feeling and a pattern in a state like Wisconsin where it's sneakily going under the radar, and I think Wisconsin may end up being a surprise Trump win on election night. How much of a surprise? I'm not too sure, because it's 0.7% in the polling average right now, and we have over a month to go until the election. But still, I think Wisconsin is a very, very close state, a state I would not be shocked one bit to see Trump win on election day, because I do think, even though Harris holds a lead here, I think we're starting to see the numbers slowly, even by a little bit, we're starting to see the numbers get a little bit smaller where Trump is starting to creep back up and getting to that tie range in the average. And already at 0.7%, all the polls are under the margin of error. It's a tied race, and I think Wisconsin is moving in Trump's direction. But of course, everyone's gonna have to get out and vote, and we're gonna have to wait and see until election day if this does come true. That will do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a like. And if you really liked it, please remember to click the subscribe button. And make sure you turn post notifications on so you always get notified when I post a new video. That way you never miss one. Also, please remember to share this video with your friends and family if you really, really, really like the video. And remember to stay tuned, because I'll be posting at least one video every single day leading up until election day. So I'd really appreciate it if you keep coming back and watching those videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.